Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So, ShakeTube 2020 has now started, thank you to its hosts, Old Blues Chapter and Verse, Steve Donahue, Totally Pretentious, and Rainy Day Reads. And I'm going to be doing this top 10 list of my top 10 favorite Shakespeare characters. So this first video is going to cover the honorable mentions and then numbers 10 through 6 of the characters, and then numbers 5 through 1 will each get their own individual videos. So first off, we have the honorable mentions. At what would be number 12, we have Benedict from Much Ado About Nothing. Benedict is a very funny character. He can be played in lots of different ways. My two favorite versions of him are the David Tennant version from the David Tennant Catherine Tate version, and then the Kenneth Branagh version from the 90s movie that he did with Emma Thompson. And the other honorable mention is Lady Macbeth. Lady Macbeth is a truly fascinating character. I don't think I really have time to go into her fully here, of course, but she is very, very interesting, especially all the different ways you can play her, especially in contrast with her husband, Macbeth. And now on to the actual list. Number 10 is Beatrice from Much Ado About Nothing. Now, of course, Beatrice and Benedict ended up being quite close together in the list, but Beatrice was the one who ultimately made the top 10. I love how clever she is and just the sheer, I guess, speed at which she comes up with all these clever retorts, but I also do like that she is not a perfect person. She has a very, very complex relationship with Benedict when the play starts, and they probably would not have got together at the end of the play, at least not in a very healthy way, except for the fact that the other characters basically forced her and Benedict to actually admit what they were feeling. I also really, really love that Shakespeare allows Beatrice and her cousin Hero to have a really, really wonderful friendship, and in a lot of versions she is the one who is shielding Hero the most during the wedding scene when Hero gets verbally humiliated in front of everybody. So yeah, Beatrice is a wonderful character, and that's all I'm going to say in this video because it would be a much longer video if I spent a lot of time on all the characters. Number 9, Romeo Montague. I would say Romeo's most defining feature is his passion, which is both his biggest strength and his biggest weakness. A lot of the best things he does, such as choosing, and at least initially, not to attack Tybalt, even when he's challenged, is done out of love for Juliet. But at the same time, some of the worst things he does, for example, killing Tybalt, are also done out of love. In this case, love for his friend. So yeah, passion, love, used interchangeably in this sense, that's kind of Romeo's defining feature. Number 8 is Helena from A Midsummer Night's Dream. Helena is a surprisingly complex character. She actually is probably the character with the second most number of lines in Midsummer, I believe it was. She's very lonely, which is interesting because she also has one of the strongest friendships in the play with Hermia, but due to their romantic statuses, it's kind of strained things a little bit. She's also very, very assertive, which is not always a good thing, but it makes her entertaining to watch, and I do feel a lot of pity for her, but not in a patronizing way. It's more like you want to get behind her and you want to cheer her for her throughout the play. Also, it's enough that Oberon sides with her on first sight, and Oberon, while not exactly being evil, isn't exactly purely good either. He's quite aloof, so I quite like that Helena inspires that feeling in other people. And speaking of Oberon, number 7 is Oberon. Now, I find Oberon to be such a fascinating character because I would say, while overall he is a good guy, he's not heroic, I would say. He's kind of like a puppet master, where he kind of exists outside of the confines of humanity, which makes sense because he's a fairy. The result of all of this status is that he kind of spends the whole play messing with humans. His intentions are good, but he still is playing puppet master and messing with everyone. Now, this trait of his sometimes is very good, like when he decides that he wants to help Helena, although enchanting someone to love someone else, that's yeah, but the fact that he does want to help this girl is good. However, I don't like what he does to Titania. I think that's pretty cruel, but I love the complexity of this character, how he's not purely good or purely bad, and how he does seem very, very other, which makes sense given what he is, and very regal and kingly. Also, it's just funny seeing his reactions to everything the humans do, because he's just so different from them. And number 6, the last person we're going to be talking about in this video, is Prospero from The Tempest. Now, Prospero is quite similar to Oberon in terms of how he functions within the play. He is a puppet master over the rest of the characters, especially given the fact that he uses magic to do so. However, in terms of the character dynamics on a personal level, he's very, very different, because unlike Oberon, he has very, very personal connections with most of the people he is puppeteering. And it's done for very personal reasons. With Oberon, it's just, oh, I want to help this girl. Oh crap, everything's going wrong. Let's fix it now. With Prospero, it's, those are the people who hurt me. They are now within my reach. Now I'm going to capture them and exact my revenge on them. And while there is some danger within the play for Prospero and Miranda, his daughter, most of the conflict in the play, I believe, or at least the ultimate conflict in the play, is actually between Prospero and himself, because it's his fight to forgive, or his journey to forgiving the other characters, which I find to be a very fascinating story, especially his dynamic between the people who immediately around him, of course his brother and the King of Naples, but also between him and Ariel, and him and Caliban, mostly him and Ariel. His dynamic with Caliban and Ariel can be quite problematic at times, but that is almost what makes it interesting to study. And I will probably be talking about that later in the month at some point, but I'm just going to leave that here for now. So that's going to be the end of this first video in the series. The next one, which of course will be character number 5, is probably going to be coming out next week. And just as a hint for who that is, I've actually name dropped them in this video already. You'll see who it is when that next video comes out. So thank you for watching. If you are participating in ShakeTube, how's it going so far? What have you been reading and how are you finding it? Have a wonderful day. See you later.